Okay, so here we have our working capital matrix simulation 1, and it has got 3 exhibits. Let's see what exactly do we need to do. Paul Gerard, a financial analyst for Wallon Company, has been tasked with forecasting the company's year 4 financial statements and assessing its working capital cycle based on year 3 financials. He has prepared a memo with 2 scenarios for year 4 for his managers to review, along with providing an overview of potential strategies that may or may not impact the cycle. Okay. Using the information provided in the exhibits, complete the 4 tables below. For task 1, for the application ratios in column A, enter the calculated amount in days in column B. For task 2, this, that. Fine. Let's see exactly what do we have to do. It says for task 1, year 3 ratios, we have to calculate year 3 ratios. Okay. Now we have been given 3 exhibits. Financial analyst memo, nothing to do with it. Analytics definition, nothing to do with it. We know the ratios we used in the many previous simulations. What we need is the financial statement, because from financial statements we will be able to calculate the days in inventory, days in sales account receivable, days of payable outstanding, that is the average payment period, and finally the cash conversion cycle. So we just need to look right here for our numbers. So here it is. Alright, so what we need first, we need to calculate first the inventory turnover in days, and for that we need to first mark the inventory value, that's right here, and the CGS right here, and there you go. So what you're going to do, you're going to divide 195, that's your inventory, with the CGS and multiply it with 365. It's pretty straightforward. The number that you will get is 78.559, which can be rounded off to 78.56. Plug it right here, 78.56. 78.56. Done. Now next we have the days sales in account receivables, also called the average collection period. That is the time your average receivable takes to pay you back. And how do we calculate that? Your account receivable, which is given right here, 335, divided by your sales, which should be right here, the revenue 1690. So it's going to be 335 divided by 1690 multiplied by 365, and it gives you 72.352, which can be rounded off to 72.35. Right? Plug it right here, 72.35. Done. Next we have a days of payable outstanding, or the average payment period, that is the time you take to pay to your suppliers. So for that you need to look at what do we have in accounts payable. This one, 224. This is the numerator of the formula, you know that, we've done many questions like that. And 224 divided by the cost of sales, that is 906. 224 upon 906 multiplied by 365 gives you 90.242, and 90.242 can be rounded off to 90.24. So you're going to put 90.24, and that's going to be your average payment period. Now what we need is the cash conversion cycle, also called the net operating cycle. You're going to add 78.56, to that add 72.35, and from this deduct 90.24, that gives you, it gives you 60.67, 60.67, right? Done. Now the task 1 is over, all numbers entered. So for task 2, what you're going to do, for task 2, choose the correct impact on the ratios in column A, assuming scenario 1 in the memo exhibit. So where do we have the scenario? Financial analyst memo right here. Let's read it up. And let's highlight what exactly do we need to do. Memo working capital ratios to Nicole Ming, manager, from Paul Gerard, financial analyst, date September 5th, year 4. Working capital ratio. Looking at year 3 financial statements and projecting how our final year 4 statements will look, we have a couple of scenarios that I would like to highlight. Scenario 1, that's what we are interested in right now. We could increase all financial statement line items by 5%. All. This is where I have laid specific emphasis, all. Which is an extremely simplified way of projecting growth in all areas, but we have been reflecting growth across board in our interim financial statements. And 5% is not an unreasonably high number. So every number on your financial statement is going to go up by 5%. If we do that, how would it affect our ratios? That's what we need to do. So let's go to task 2, this one. Now, gentlemen, let me tell you, and let me show it to you that it will have absolutely no impact whatsoever. Just take, for example, your inventory turnover days, right? Your inventory turnover days, we calculated it to be 906 and 195. That was 195 upon 906 times 365. If we increase the numerator by 5% and the denominator by 5%, it will have no impact on the ratio whatsoever. You can do it. Increase 195 by 5%, do the same with the 906 and divide the results. It will have absolutely no difference. Let me do it for you. 195 when increased by 5%, you can do 195 times 1.05 and 906 into 1.05 multiplied by 365. What you will see that these factors will cancel and eventually you will have the same number that we calculated previously, that was 78.559, which is 78.56. So everything is increasing by 5%, so the numerator, denominator, they go up by 5%, so it will have absolutely no impact whatsoever. So what you're going to do, you're going to write here, no ratios will change, because if all items, the reason is if all items on the balance sheet and income statement increase by 5%, that would mean the numerator and denominator of each ratio would increase by 5%, and net effect would be 0. So take any example, just like the way I've taken the days of inventory turnover, it was all same. So no ratio will change, and that will make this to be the correct option. Right, so this is done. Next, for task 3, what exactly do we need? Let's go back here. It says for task 3, the application ratio in column A, enter the calculated amount in days in column B in accordance with scenario 2. And this is the scenario 2. Let's go right below this one. This is it. So based on what we have seen so far this year and some potential strategies I have been hearing about, I think we can model a scenario in which the following things occur. I can envision a 10% growth in property, plant, and equipment based on investments made throughout the year. I also see a 15% decrease in receivable. That is relevant to me. 15% decrease in receivable. So that's I'm going to highlight. Then as we look to become more aggressive with our collection, so that's why your AR, account receivable balance, will fall. This will help bring more cash in, but I still forecast an overall 15% decrease in cash. Well, it doesn't have to do anything with our activity ratios. I forecast inventory of cost of sales, general and admin expenses all to rise by 5%. So for this, my relevant part only is my cost of sales and inventory. Right, that's what I need for my activity ratios. Revenue and accounts payable should increase by 6%. That's relevant. Revenue and accounts payable. And then what else? Salaries payable, I'm not interested. I'm only interested in accounts payable, account receivables, inventory, sales, and cost of goods sold. Khalas, nothing else I need. So you need to jot this information down on your paper so that we can use it for our computation given in the income statement and balance sheet right here. Right. So let us apply our jotted numbers here and calculate the revised numbers for our inventory turnover, account receivable turnover days, and accounts payable turnover in days. Okay, so applying the numbers that we have jotted down, let us first calculate the inventory turnover days. So it's going to be 195 to be increased by 5% as per the second scenario, and your cost of sales, which is 906, we need to increase it by 1.05 as well, and multiplying 365, it will give us the same result as we calculated previously in the first task. It's going to be 78.559 or simply 78.56. So you can enter this number right here, 78.56. 78.56, and there you go. Right, this was your task 3, remember, scenario 2. Next, we need to calculate days sales in accounts receivables or average collection period, and I hope you would have noted down the information. What we have here is that since we are going to be harsh on our customers, so we are going to collect money quickly, and our AR balance is going to fall by 15%, which means we are going to multiply this factor with 85%. At the same time, the information that you've jotted down, our revenue is going to go up by 6%. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write 335 times 85%. That's the new balance of my account receivable, and my revenue is going to be go up by 6%. It's 1690 times 1.06 and 1.06, and multiply this with 365. What you're going to get is 58.018, 58.018, which if rounded off gives you 58.02. That is going to be your average collection period under scenario 2. So that's what we're going to input here, 58.02, and there you go. Next, we need days of payable outstanding, or the average payment period. Okay, from the information that you have jotted down, here is your accounts payable and here is your CGS. As per the assumptions and given in scenario 2, your accounts payable is going to go up by 6%, and your cost of goods sold is going to go up by 5%. So I'm going to multiply it with 1.05 and then with 365 in order to give you the result in days. So it's going to be 91.102, which is about 91.10 days. So this is your average payment period, or what you call days of payable outstanding, 91.10. So there you go, 91.10. 91.10, and there you go. And in the end, what you're going to do, you just need to net these off, this plus this, days in inventory, days sales and accounts receivable, that's your operating cycle, and from this if you deduct the days of payable outstanding, that will give you the length of your cash conversion cycle. And if you do add up the above two and deduct 91.10, what you get is 45.48, and that gives the answer to your task 2. Next task 3 basically. Next task, we have task 4, strategies and its impact. Let's maximize the screen size. Okay, task 4, strategies and impact. First we have days in inventory, that is how many days do you hold your inventory, that, and we know the formula for that. The formula for that is days in inventory is your inventory, average inventory, divided by the cost of goods sold multiplied by 365. So let's see how will these strategies will affect the impact on ratio and whether it will shorten the working capital cycle or not. Implementing a just-in-time approach. We will discuss in our subsequent modules. Just-in-time approach means you will purchase inventory when needed and not before. So it means your inventory is going to fall. Under just-in-time, you will buy only when you need it. So inventory balance will fall, which means the numerator of this ratio will fall. If the numerator falls, the days in inventory will fall. So the ratio would decrease. And will it shorten the working capital cycle? Yes, since the days in inventory is an addition to the working capital cycle. If it falls, it will shorten the working capital cycle. So the result is going to be yes. Next, decreasing carrying cost. When the carrying cost decrease, what is carrying cost? Insurance on your warehouse, custodial services of warehouse, maybe storage cost involving rent, involving obsolescence, deterioration, all the costs involved in carrying the inventory in the warehouse. If the carrying cost decreases, then you will most likely carry more stock. When you carry more stock, your numerator goes up, days in inventory goes up. When the days in inventory goes up, your working capital will not shorten, rather it will increase. Right? So, and the last one, reducing average order size. If your average order size is reduced, that means you purchase less. When you buy less, your inventory will fall. When your inventory will fall, you will have the same impact. Your ratio will fall as per, because inventory is the numerator, and because of decrease in the average days in inventory, your working capital cycle, will it shorten? Yes, it will. Now the last one, let us first plug these in. Okay, here it says investing more dollars in property, plant and equipment. It will have no impact on inventory, no impact upon CGS, so it's going to have no effect in the ratio, and it will have no impact on the working capital cycle. So it's going to be no. Now let's do the second part now. Now, days sales in account receivable. Let us write down the formula first. Days sales in account receivable is equal to your AR upon your revenue or sales multiplied by 365. Let us assess the impact on each strategy on the ratio. Okay, reducing the selling, general and administrative expense. It has nothing to do with AR and revenue, right? So it's going to have no effect and no effect. Then losing, it's not loser, it's loosening the credit extension policy. When you loosen the credit policy, it means you take longer to collect your customers from your customers, so your AR goes up. When your average receivable balance goes up, the ratio would increase, and when it increases, the working capital will not shorten, rather it will become longer. Offering more payment methods. When you offer more payment methods to our suppliers, they might pay through different means, then it will lower your account receivable. When AR reduces, this will make the ratio go down, because AR is in the numerator, and then of course your working capital cycle will shorten. Issuing more equity. Now, issuing more equity will have absolutely no impact on these at all. So we have entered our responses on our strategies on days sales and account receivables. Last segment is days of payables outstanding, or the average payment period. Let us write down the formula first. The formula we use is the accounts payable divided by the cost of goods sold multiplied by 365. Okay, now delaying payments to vendors until due dates. When you delay the payments to your accounts payable, your AP goes up. When AP goes up, the ratio, since it's in the numerator, the ratio increases, and since you take more time to pay to your suppliers, and which is a deduction from cash conversion cycle. Remember that the inventory turnover days plus account receivable collection period minus accounts payable payment period. If this factor becomes bigger, the cash conversion cycle will become shortened. So that is right, yes. Issuing more long-term debt will have no impact at all. Taking advantage of vendors' discounts. When you take advantage of vendors' discount, it means you are paying more frequently, so your AP will fall. That means the ratio here would fall, and this will cause the AP to be a smaller number in days, and this will not shorten the cash conversion cycle, rather it will become longer. So you're going to write here no. Paying off higher coupon debt. Higher coupon debt means you have issued bonds and it carries a higher coupon. Just paying it off, it has no impact on accounts payable. Okay, now let's enter our responses and close the deal. So we have entered our responses, and now we can move on to the next simulation.